Hello and welcome to day 15 of the 21-day dating challenge. Your challenge today, sis, is to meet 5 brand new men this week. Just 5. And you know the drill. The reason why it's 5 is because I'm only encouraging you or inviting you to actually spend Monday to Friday doing this specific task and having a break on the weekend. So if you set your intention to meet just one man a day, you're more than likely to meet 5 in the week. Now, remember, the reason why you're doing this, sis, is because you want to increase your confidence, you want to build a rapport with men, but also you want to improve your ability to engage and ask questions of these fine men that you're meeting, whether it's online or offline. And the key thing about this specific task, sis, is that great men are absolutely everywhere. If you have been thinking, there are no men in my town, there are no men in my city, you are completely wrong. Great men are absolutely everywhere. The key is that you need to open your mind to meeting them. Now, I think I spoke a few days ago about the different places that you can meet men, or I think actually, no, I think a task is coming up this week. But in the meantime, I want to share this with you, and that is this. When you meet men out in the street, at the park, in the gym, at a business conference, you might be thinking, well, I don't really know how to connect with them. I don't know how to immediately spark that conversation. Let me share with you just a few things that you can do, because what you have to first and foremost imagine that's a new lady that you're meeting. The only reason why you're perhaps feeling a little bit strange or a little bit embarrassed or a little bit less confident about it is because it's potentially a man that you're interested in. And I know how we can go weak at the knees when it comes to meeting men that are very attractive, speak well, and they look good. But what I want to suggest to you is that because you're going to be meeting men everywhere and anywhere, try this. Smile, literally, just smile at him and then just literally, and then look away. And then obviously give it a few seconds and then smile again so that he knows this is your invitation to him to come and approach you. Now, obviously, if you're feeling a little bit more confident than that, you can go up to him. I don't necessarily recommend that. It really depends on who you are and what you're trying to communicate to men. But smile. And if he's away off into the distance, just wave and say, hi. And sometimes I know when people have done that to me in the past, I'll be like, do I know that person? Where do I know that person from? And my brain will sort of go into this whirlwind of where did I ever meet that person? And it could just be that they were just being friendly. And that is your job. That is part of what the 21-day challenge is all about. It's about you just really meeting brand new people, engaging with them confidently and building some sort of rapport, because you just really never know, number one, if they're single, number two, if they like you, and number three, if you will really truly like them after you've met them. But if your goal is to just make friends, make connections, you'll be fine. And that's what I want to encourage you to do. A couple of other things that you can do, obviously, are you could tell your friend, a good friend that you trust, to say, look, I'm interested in that guy over there. Do you know him, or do you know anyone who knows him? And that's another way that you can be introduced to men. The other thing that you can do is, and this one's really simple, you can just ask him for help. So it might be that you've dropped something, or for example, if you're on a plane and you need your luggage put up in the overhead cabin and you see a nice man, or it might just be that any man, that it might not even, it might be that a man is actually sitting next to his wife. There's no reason why you can't just say, excuse me, please, would you mind helping me put my suitcase up? Now, most men will say, sure, and they'll literally help you do it. And that's the beginning of starting to feel confident about asking men to help you with some. The other thing, of course, you could do is drop the proverbial handkerchief, which means you sort of drop something, and then obviously, because you've seen the man that you're attracted to, and what happens is, and listen, I know this is very old fashioned in some people's eyes, but he may not have noticed you. So it's really an opportunity for you to just show a gentleman who you are, because when he turns and he sees that something has fallen, he'll be like, oh, okay, here you go. Is this yours, madam? Or is this yours, sister? Whatever it is, I don't know what men say, but There are some things in my head, but I don't necessarily remember what men say in these circumstances. But I've had situations like that, and I just say, "Oh, thank you," and smile. And it's at that point that if a man will see that you're smiling, which means you're inviting. Now, there might not be anything romantic about it. This is the thing you also need to bear in mind. It might just be that he's just a nice, polite, well brought up gentleman, and he's just being helpful to a lady that he's met at the airport, at the park, at the gym, wherever. So do bear that in mind. The other thing that you can do, so for example, if you're at a party, use the method of ask your friend or find out from the organizer of the party or the event who specific people are. That's another way. And then you can just literally go and join a conversation, and don't stand on the edge when you're at a networking event. Just sort of gently look for a gap. Now, generally, most people, in my experience, if they're nice, kind people, they will generally open up the circle for you, and that's your way of coming into the circle. And just listen in for a little while and then contribute to the conversation. Not just Don't just blab anything, just contribute something that's useful, that people will find interesting and engaging. And that's the key thing. Remember, you've always got to be what? Be curious, which means you're asking questions. You're asking intelligent questions, not just questions about the weather or about this, that, or the other, but you're asking relevant questions because you're curious. You're an interesting person, which means you've actually got lots of hobbies and things that you do, and passions and interests, things that you actually do outside of work or outside of your regular activities. So you remember, you're curious, you're interesting, and you're intentional. So if you are going to a specific event, set your mind to say, right, at this event I'm going to meet 5 new people or 10 new people, 5 new men, 5 new women, whatever it is. Or this is my goal for going to that event. Yes, to meet these people, but also to learn about, I don't know, is it stocks, shares, property, crypto, whatever it is. So make sure that you set your intention from the beginning, so that at least when you get there, that is the thing that's at the forefront of your mind, sis. Now, one thing I'd like to ask you is, how many men have you got so far scheduled? Is it one? Is it five? Or is it 10? At least 10, because we're into week 3 now, sis. We're on the home straight. And remember, 5 new men each week it's been so far. And this is the last week where I'm going to invite you to meet 5 new men. So by the end of this week, I'm expecting that you've at least engaged with 15 new men. If you haven't, I want you to take a long, hard look at why you haven't got that many men scheduled, or whether you haven't met them, or whether you have a date with them. At this point in time, it's not about necessarily having a date. I think I've mentioned before that I had a date a week because that was all my calendar could allow in terms of meeting face to face. But in terms of online dates, remember, at the end of my 30 days when I did it, I had 37 scheduled online dates, because I was on a mission to make sure that I put the effort and the energy in. And in order for me to do that, I've actually got to allocate the time. And I have said this before, sis, you've got to allocate the time if you are truly serious about meeting men that you are attracted to, who you want to date and hang out with, and eventually enter into a deep and meaningful relationship with. So, sis, be open minded when you go out on dates, be intentional when you go to events. And get out and go to events, sis. Don't just sit at home hoping and praying that somebody will come to your door. I know, listen, I believe in the power of intention, but I don't think it stretches to you not doing anything. You've actually got to be proactive in and participate in making the world come together, in making the universe actually come together to deliver your intentions, sis. So I just want to remind you, always be curious, be interesting, and be intentional. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.